Okay, I want to show y'all what I got going on here. I'm pretty defeated right now because my electricity is all set up on a temporary basis, temporary utility pole, and it is 340 feet that way, and I run cable down. Right here we are. It's big UF cable, which if you don't know is direct burial, so it's down in the ground there, and it's 6 gauge. So 6 gauge is pretty damn big, all right? From there, from this box right here, I got a 50 amp breaker in here, and we run with more 6 gauge right here down and into the garage. Now, the problem that I'm having is my electricity works fine and everything, but it's not quite enough amperage to run my compressor the way that it needs to run. Meaning, if I let the pressure out of it, let it all the way down, then it'll run just fine. However, whenever you're running it like normal and you're using it and it kicks on, you know, it kicks on at about probably about 85 psi or 90 psi, and it pumps it back up to 135 psi. Whenever it's got that 90 psi or so on it and it kicks on to fill it back up to 135 psi, it doesn't have enough oomph, and it's tripping the breaker. Before it wasn't even tripping the breaker, I thought it was going to fry the motor. But anyways, this is my compressor. And it's a decent little unit and everything. But even with 6 gauge wire running all the way into the breaker, you know, we got 6 gauge, and then from here down to these plugs, we got 10 gauge. So, sucks. You can't run a compressor on a extension cord because, well, a compressor needs like a 6-lane highway to run all of its traffic. Its amperage needs to be able to flow uninterrupted. And the amperage, you know, my voltage is fine. Everything up here like this, you know, that runs low voltage, my lights, or I'm sorry, low amperage, but 120 volts, fine. I got 120 volts all day long. But amperage is what pushes that current. It's the driving force behind it. And it's just got to go such a long ways from the box, even though I'm using 6 gauge, it's just not working. So I've heard of I think it's called a jack box. Basically, it's a transformer. It's a step, not really even a transformer, I don't think. But I need to install something right here on the wall, right, that will power just my compressor. Whenever I have it right here and then immediately powering my compressor, I think all of my problems will be solved. But for now, I need that damn compressor to run, because way back over a year ago, whenever I first got this place, I, you know, working hard, a lot of hammering, shit like that, messed up my elbow. And as much as it sucks, I am 41 years old and I don't heal nearly as fast as I used to. And it's been over a year, my elbow still ain't right. So I'm not going to swing a hammer unless I have to, or unless it's just a really small amount of work. But I got to start framing in these windows, and I need that air compressor to run my nail gun. So tonight I'll be researching, seeing if there's a place in Atlanta that actually has the little jack box thing, and probably try and hook it up tomorrow. But I'm a little pissed. not really pissed, it's just, damn, I got 6-gauge wire running all the way. 6 gauge, that's big. It should be enough to handle the load, but it's not. Even just the small distance from the garage out to the utility pole that feeds this box right here, you know, that's only like a 40-foot run. And the distance between the box outside that's on the pine tree and this is too much. Like if I take the compressor outside and plug it in at the pine tree, it'll work flawlessly, no problem. But that little extra 40 feet, they ain't having it. Bleh. I got Zach in here taking off the furring strips on the cinder block. All that stuff's going to be ripped out and everything, so that's what he's doing. Let's go take a look at everything and then take a look at the windows, how I'm going to frame them in. Oh, my man's doing some damage.
2 more. Half.
Surprising how much those are stuck on there, isn't it?
Yes.
They're really...
Some of them just crumble off, but some of them are in there good.
Let's take a look at the windows here. These windows are, anyway, you see. We're going to be framing up right here, and all of this stuff will get filled in with spray foam and then concrete over top of it. This one right here started to crack and droop, so I went ahead and put up a little bit of support for temporary. But anyways, I don't know if we're gonna get to that today. Sucks, but anyways, that's how it goes. Big project, and it takes a lot of day by day activities, and we'll get it going. Boom. Okay, I think I may have fixed it. I got to looking at the motor, and it is a 120 or 240. So I just wired it up for 240, and I got it plugged in where my welder plugs in, and here goes. Woo! That's the way it's supposed to run. Yeah. Oh, that's a big mess. Well, I definitely got to get some, shit. Whatever. I got no tape, but I'll get some for the fitting because I'm already leaking like crazy. First nail in my brand new Milwaukee nail gun are going to be driven the right way to hang up a picture of Clint. Whew. I think that's all for today. All right, I couldn't stop where I stopped before. So, you see Zach started building a fire out of all those furring strips he tore down. And I went ahead and I installed a little hose reel, got my hose all lined out and everything. Got the compressor tucked up underneath there. Works real good. I figured maybe I should go ahead and show you guys because I keep forgetting, I got a lot of different types of social media and stuff. And you guys don't know about my Lemons racer. So this is a 1988 GMC Jimmy. I got it for $250. It had a blown head gasket and cracked head. But other than that, it was in fantastic shape. I went ahead and I cut the back end of it off to make it a real short little pickup truck. Inside there is the roll bar and the race seat. And over here is the engine that I built for it. Nothing too big or anything like that. It's just a 4.3 and it's got high compression pistons. And it's decked a little bit to give me about 10.5 to 1 compression. I want to still be able to run pump gas like 92 octane. Should be able to do that with 10.5 to 1 compression, no problem. It's got a real nice cam in it. I'm not sure right off the bat the lift or duration or anything, but it's not just the simple upgrade that a lot of people do. It's a hefty little cam for the engine, and got some roller tipped rockers, but you don't get any performance on that. The only reason I did the roller tipped rockers is because needed a little bit more throw because the cam was lifting things too high. The regular rockers would have been in a bind. So that's the only reason they're there. I got a Edelbrock Performer intake manifold and a Edelbrock 500 CFM 4-barrel carb. So by my figuring, it should put down to the ground 200 horsepower, maybe slightly more. Maybe 210 or something, which in that little thing, it's only going to weigh about 2,500 pounds whenever I'm done. And it's ready and on the track, so it should scoot real nice. We're going to drop it down. Going to drop it down about 3 inches front and back. I got front and rear sway bars for it. Slightly oversized. They're still stock, but they're the ones for the big 4-door Jimmys, so they're a little bit heavier. Already got the race tires on there. Got some Asians, I don't know, but that's what people tend to run. If you don't know anything about 24 Hours of Lemons, 24 Hours of Lemons is a endurance race that is geared towards people that want to get into road racing and what I would call real racing. I'm sorry, drag racing is cool, but it's just not. I don't know. It's kind of like golf. I don't really consider it real racing. It's cool, and I like it, and maybe someday I'll build me a drag car. But I did a lot of motocross in the past. I did everything. I did motocross. I did desert racing. I did woods racing, and I even did some ice racing in a hockey rink. That was fun. The funnest though would have to be TT racing. You go around a big dirt oval that people typically race cars on, a car dirt oval track, but then you cut into the infield and there's a tiny little motocross track on the infield. Just little stuff, jumps that really you don't go more than 3 or 4 feet off the ground at most, but you just hit them wide open as fast as you can go, and that's a really fun way to race. Like I said, I did so much racing that beating your body to death, well, it just sucks. Motocross is really, you just beat the shit out of yourself even when you don't wreck. So I've been looking to get back into racing. thought about doing some motorcycle racing and stuff, but I don't want to wreck. And if I do wreck, I want a big cage around me so that I don't get hurt. I'm too old for that. So this is what I'm doing. And we've got right here, this is what's left to do on the Jimmy. And we've got a grand total of about $1,300 left to go before we can start hitting the track. And the first racetrack that we'll go to, so me and BJ's been talking about it, but he's one of my partners on the race team, and he's done a lot of racing in this area, and he's like Little Talladega. So we'll take it to Little Talladega, and whenever I do more on it, you know, I'll keep you guys updated, and hopefully it'll be fun. I mean, I'm sure it's not going to suck. Getting out there on a racetrack and that little thing, pushing about 200 horsepower, should be really fun. All right, take it easy.